Act 2 of Arcane just dropped, and it wasn't really what I expected. Act 1 ended with a dramatic breakup between Caitlyn and Vi, which made it seem that shit's about to go down. And it kinda did, just not immediately. Arcane once again used a very important and often weirdly overlooked storytelling tool to make its story make sense. The enemy of our existence itself. Time. Now, it might seem obvious, because it really is, but many, if not most, stories actually f this up somehow. Rome wasn't built in a day, but in some stories, the biggest threat to the universe can be destroyed in 2 days by the power of friendship. But Arcane actually does this right. It has multiple time skips throughout the show, during which crucial change has space to happen. And when it comes to key moments, the pacing is controlled in a way where touching scenes have room to breathe and action scenes to get our blood pumping. That's good time management, and one of the biggest reasons why Arcane's complicated story makes sense, and why its character development feels real. And this time management is exactly what this video will be about. We'll explore how Arcane does it, and how could we succeed where multi-billion-dollar companies apparently fail. Amazing lore, deep characters, and incredible story hooks create an incredible story, but poor pacing could still mess it all up. If the pacing is too slow, the audience will become bored. If the pace is too fast, it will feel overwhelming and cause people to lose the plot. Either way, it's bad, not good. That's a very fine balance to keep, which isn't that easy in Arcane, especially in Act 2, given that the writers are trying to spin 7 different plotlines into seamless fabric without any holes. We have Jinx and Isha, the child who became Powder's only hope to find her old piece of humanity again. A family reunion of Jinx and Vi through the proxy of Warwick. I mean Vander. Nice new $500 skin, by the way. Oh wait, it already exists. Then there are Ambessa's grand domination schemes, possession of Hextech, Caitlyn's somewhat unsuccessful puppeteering, and a possible connection to secret societies. Then of course our great Lord Mecha Jesus Victor's ascendance into his ultimate conclusion of evolution, which is extinction. Also, Wild Runes Arcane and the new $700 legendary Arcane Jace premiere. Oh, and let's not forget Echo and Heimeringer. Then there's Caitlyn's arc, which hinted at a descent into tyranny until her heart melted again at the presence of the new $900 Renegade Vi. The budding revolution by Zorn and the eerie Iron Curtain-esque resemblance of righteousness led by Caitlyn and Ambessa. And lastly but not leastly, the mysterious Black Rose, Mel's imprisonment, and her strange hidden powers. And all of this was covered in 3 episodes, not only covered, but kept interesting and engaging enough for the viewers to still care about the characters. And they did it by controlling the pacing in 2 ways. They don't waste any screen time. Each scene is critical to character and story development, no matter how mundane it may seem. The pacing in every scene reflects how the characters feel. This helps convey the feelings much better. For example, Episode 4 starts with Jinx and Isha battling it out, with bugs. It shows how Jinx changed, that she can have normal conversations again and express emotions like boredom and care for someone. She actually remembers her old life without any animosity towards it. While dyeing Isha's hair, she remembers her sister Vi and her old self Powder, and even admits that Jinx is dead and that it's a past life, just like Powder was before her. It's just a cute sequence of scenes. Notice the pacing though. Neither Jinx nor Isha are in any rush because there's nowhere to go. The scenes appear one after the other quite naturally. It's just everyday stuff, and that's exactly the point. Now compare that to Vi's starting scene. It starts with a fight, just not between 2 small bugs. It's Vi versus other pit fighters. The scenes are frantic, fast, and glitchy. One moment she hits someone, another moment she's being hit back. Almost seems like on purpose. Her opponents are blurred because they don't matter. There are quick flashes of people from her past life in between her binge drinking and partying, like she sees them in between the delusional reality that's spiraling out of control. Her day-to-day over the past month compounded into a reel of flashback moments. Vi's sequence is much faster and ends a lot quicker than Jinx's, yet it depicts the meaningfulness of both of their lives perfectly. Vi's lost. She looks for purpose in the bottom of the bottle. Jinx, on the other hand, experiences meaning in a simple, everyday interaction with someone she cares about. Both scenes show the most important bits of each of their lives at the moment. And pacing alone tells us that Vi's life is passing her by, while Jinx lives in the moment. In D&D, and in writing, we DMs often control this pacing. The way a story roller coasts between intense and chill periods, and how much and how quickly information is funneled to the player. Good pacing can really give a life story that... For example, a battle against a strong enemy, or a difficult moral dilemma the players need to solve already gives a sense of urgency. Or everything's around you collapsing and you decide it's time for a skill challenge. Or maybe it's all at once. To up the stakes in such situations, you can talk faster, pressure the players to make decisions quicker by saying stuff like, oh, the bad guy is approaching, or you feel your hand slipping. Or if you're like a total sociopath, add a timer on the table, like an hourglass, that everyone can see. Fast pacing like this helps to create tension and boost excitement, or anxiety. If you're describing what it's like to spiral into madness, nothing will do it like evolving music and fast cuts between visions and voices the characters are experiencing. I must note that this only works if the situation involves something the players care about. I mean, look at Vi's fight with Vander. I think I forgot to breathe while watching that scene because I got to know both of those characters and care about them. But if you just take any random NPC the players just met, put the NPC in harm's way, it might not create tension. In order for anyone to care about any character, a connection must first be established. And to do that, we slow down the pace. Fighting and action is fun, but exploring the world and resting between battles lets the story breathe, as that creates moments of reflection and connection. Slowing the pace down is important for building atmosphere, getting to really know the characters and making the whole world feel real. Through the little things, like the little bug battle Jinx had with Isha, or Vander's memories about his family. Slow pacing also sets up tension really well, like when Mel woke up in her prison. She met with what she thought at first was her long-lost brother. They talked, had a shared moment before it all escalated to just another illusion of the Black Rose. So play around with pacing. Allow some time for players to rest and relax, especially after intense and dramatic scenes. And speaking of time... And now about the most obvious secret ingredient so many stories miss. The concept of the fourth dimension we see around us every day. Yet it seems that sometimes it's too difficult to grasp. Ready for it? Change takes time. I know. Fucking mind-blowing. To Marvel at least. Multiverse of Madness. Doc meets this girl named America. Why not Kazakhstan? Well, probably because she's the chosen one. Well, after a brief discussion about family and friendship with the Doc, she grits her teeth and just wins against one of the strongest beings of the universe, even though she had like no powers 2 days prior. The main anime protagonist trope stopped making sense since Gohan beat Cell in DBZ, yet a multi-billion-dollar company just does this shit for 2 fucking decades. Stories draw us in when we connect to the characters, and we connect to the characters when we can understand and relate to what they have been through. However, very often characters in movies change instantly and we are left reeling. It's jarring when a character who just picked up fighting can suddenly battle and win against the god of war after a 7-day training regime powered by family and friendship, or a bad guy after decades of evil decides he'll swap sides. No build-up destroys the suspense of disbelief, and Arcane understands that. Because they understand how change works. The entire story of Arcane develops through something close of a decade. There's build-ups, growing tensions, character changes, and development that all require time. And a lot of it. For that reason, there are multiple time skips in Arcane, which allow characters time to process what happened and actually undergo change. In the beginning of Act 2, we see that a lot of time has passed since Act 1. It never states exactly how long, but it's something between a few months and a year given the Iron Curtain over Zone and how Caitlyn leaves candles at her mother's memorial. If time hadn't passed, there was no way Jinx could have a redemption arc and reconcile with Vi. It took months for Jinx caring for Isha to say the words "Jinx is dead" and "You remind me of her." Only then could she take the first step to heal the relationship between her and Vi. And it wasn't even about the relationship. It took the blessing and a tragedy of Vander still being alive to do this. And it's the same with Caitlyn. Act 1 finished with Caitlin being blinded by grief and rage. She just lost her mother, lost Vi, and was blinded by rage. It seemed that she was treading the path of tyranny. If she had met Vi just a few weeks after they broke off, nothing good or even remotely productive could have happened. And Vi was in the same boat. It took something bigger than her, a rebuilding of a once-lost family, to put herself back together. That's when she could calmly reconnect with Kate. Change takes time. And it's very tempting to ignore that sometimes. In D&D, for example, it's not uncommon for 2 years in real time to turn into 2 months of game time. And over those 2 months, characters went from killing goblins to taking down dragons. It just doesn't make a lot of sense narratively. And that's where time skips can come into play. Not all plot lines are extremely time sensitive. Yes, there is BBG, but he's not gonna stage world domination in 2 weeks. That shit takes years. And what if your players lose track of the BBG? They might need to go searching or do something else in the meantime. This means that in between smaller story arcs, when the characters have downtime, you can add time skips. Whether that's a week or a month, this can allow players to process what their characters have been through and let them decide how the character changed. Maybe, while they're searching, everything around them begins to slowly change. Like forests are less lush, more people go missing, or one school of magic just disappears all of a sudden. And the same goes for all of the NPCs and BBGs. They can change too. Maybe the evil Archmage Nilrim has figured out that his plan was bad and he screwed up, and now he's trying to salvage it. But it's too late because he's already opened a portal to hell and he doesn't know how to close it, so he used a part of his soul to do that, and now he's slowly dying, and by killing him the players would be essentially just releasing legions of demons of the world faster. Or he found something to care for. But it would only make sense if enough time had passed. And during these time skips, the players don't have to stay together. They can split. And you could even have some one-on-one sessions to recap what happened during the split, how their characters changed, what are their new motivations or fears. It really paints the campaign in a different light. And what is life but a kaleidoscope of different colors? Okay, sorry, here's a link to another video about Arcane we made. Bye.